The Champions game is just the VGC format that we already know and love, except they'll be able to control the Pokemon you can use, the items you can hold, blah blah blah.
Well, it wouldn't be
there will be
it,
a learning curve to it, because like if you look at just when like they let in base game Scarlet and Violet, when the home mons came back in, the game like completely changed because so many of the Hisui mons were so broken, like Ursaluna and Hisui and Arcanine.
That's sort of how the VGC format works anyways.
Right.
Even when like all the Pokemon were in the game in like Usum, they controlled the Pokemon that were allowed to be used through their regulations, right? It was like sometimes you could bring Kyogre, sometimes you weren't allowed to bring legendaries, and whatever. And then on other times you were, because it was like there was a format, wasn't there, where like you could have like everyone was running like either Kyogre or Groudon, or then they're running Rayquaza.
That's like the current format.
I'm gonna let the dog out. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let the dog out.
Yeah, do your thing, man. But yeah, so like with Scarlet and Violet, I was watching Wolfie's video recently, right? And it was in Scarlet. Oh my goodness! It's Scarlet and Violet. They normally they go forward, right? So they'll have like regulations that begin with them like slowly introducing new Pokemon until it gets to the point where they bring all the legendaries back in. But I think for the first time in Scarlet and Violet's format, they've walked it back. So they went all the way up to legendaries, and then they went back a couple and actually took the legendaries and the Paradox Pokemon away, and then brought them back in. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see how it goes. And honestly, I think that it makes more sense for the competitive side to have a game that has every single Pokemon in it, and they cherry pick which ones come in, rather than having a game like Scarlet and Violet that doesn't have still some of the Pokemon in the game that don't even exist, right? Like Furfro's not in the game, and we've obviously now in ZA, right? But for Champions, they can literally work gradually to get all the Pokemon in, and once they're all in,
right,
it can literally just be, oh, there's new moves, we'll just add those to the game, right? New Pokemon, add those to the game, and then be like, okay, so these 400 out of the 1,200 Pokemon that we have are allowed to be used in this format. Next format changes, keeps it fresh, right?
Yeah.
They've done it. That's the best way to go about it, because then, like you said, Toby, you don't have to worry about, all these new games and like.
And you could do all sorts of wild formats they've never tried before. Like they could do, for example, like the classic format, which is the original 151 Pokemon plus their mega evolutions and regional variants and evolutions,
or even like single battles and stuff, right?
So that they can do so many different things, and they can just play and like mold, and it's just not dependent on whatever the new game is doing. And then like
single battles.
Yeah, I see it. And they can also create restrictions around like, okay, so you can have Terrestrial, Mega, and Z-Move all in one game, and Gigantamax, but you are maybe only allowed one of one kind of special transformation, or two of one kind of special transformation, or one and a restricted, like that kind of thing, or one of each. Like, why not? Like,
I personally think Z-Moves and Gigantamax are gone, and I think that Megas works in the format pretty well. And Terastallizing is like a staple. Like it's such a good, a good gameplay mechanic. Like,
I think they'll do Dynamax and Z-Moves. Look at Champions. The scope of that stadium, you can see the room behind the character for the whole throw the Pokemon behind you and it's big behind you. Like you can see it on the stadium, the room for it. And then at that point, you've got Megas, you got Terrasol, you got Dynamax. Let's throw in Z-Moves.
Okay, that's fair. I don't think that they'll all be put in it, but I can totally see the argument for why.
You're crushing my dreams now, because Ultra Necrozma is my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, if
it does not come back, I will cry.
I have an Ultra Necrozma.
No way. You have an Ultra Necrozma?
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Let's go. It's awesome, bro.
They gotta make it
space behind these, like how big the stadium is.
It's funny because this is one where I don't think I'm being Dad Toby, and I'm being Santa Claus is real. I just think that's like, of course they'll do that. Like, why wouldn't they do that? Like,
this is the whole point of it.
See, now
it feels like that's what the Santa is. Like,
there's no limits.
I'm understanding if they added them all, they could do different formats. And they could
I would say
it's Gigantamax. I get that. Yeah.
The way I envision this game is like a Mario Maker. I want to be able to set my own rule set, put it up online for our Discord, and we can host battles privately across the world. Like, I want to be able to customize all the rule sets.
Do you
right?
think there's
Gen
a world
3
where
format,
when this
Gen
is
1
out,
format.
Do you think there's a world where when this is out, they're gonna cease and desist, showdown or something?
We talked about it earlier
we were
today.
Talking about that
we literally discussed that.
Now that they're in that field, they could do that.
I hope they don't, unless you can actually customize your own Pokemon, for test battles in Champions. But I do I was thinking at this point, Showdown is not a direct competitor to them.
Sure.
I don't think. I think if they did that, it would be in bad. I think people would be super pissed about that. I don't think.
I mean, it would. That's a good decision. I mean, does Nintendo?
Yeah, I hope that like. Whatever the case, they make it so that like once you put a Pokemon, whatever that Pokemon is, into Champions, you can mess with its stat however you want, even if you have to pay for it, like Poke Gold that messes with stats.
I have my own ideas about this as well.
What do you think? Because you're way more in this space than like I am.
I think that if you have the Pokemon already and they're already EV'd and the rest of it, you can just pull them straight in and do what you want with them, right? And that's fine. Yeah. I think like you will earn some form of currency by playing in games and doing this and playing the game and doing whatever, right? And there probably will be some microtransactions. I'm pretty sure that's just going to happen, right? But if you're going to play it naturally, I think you've got to win games, play games, compete, whatever, earn points, and there might be BP because it usually is. And then with those BP, be able to either permanently or semi-permanently affect your Pokemon while they're in Champions and within the battles and stuff they do, right? But like they said, you can take Pokemon from home, right? So maybe it's like also if you've got the resources in the game you're playing already, make them in that game and then bring them over. But I also think they might make it easier to do so. And if they do make it easier, then I think it'll be a temporary thing for just Champions, because then it takes away the point of doing it in another game. I agree. Right? So
I agree.
It'll be a mix of the two.
They're gonna still obviously like. I don't think they're gonna be. I think we'll be able to edit stats pretty effectively in Champions, but I don't think we're gonna be able to obtain new Pokemon in Champions. Like I think the whole point of it is
they told you they get them from in the direct. You can't pull Pokemon from Champions out into home. Just home to Champions and back.
Which is another thing that makes me think they are gonna let you like customize your Pokemon for test battles, because it's them letting you know, you can go ahead and just by typing in numbers, set your EVs and IVs, but we're not gonna let you just do that and then throw it in your
and then take them out.
Exactly. It's like Pokemon Stadium in the rental system, right?
Yeah,
you can submit Pokemon in and you can play with them, but you can't bring the rentals back home. Right?
I struggle though with the idea that like you would need to prepare Pokemon in your mainline game to put in home, to put in Champions, because I'm pretty sure everything that you put into home kind of like resets almost. Like I'm pretty sure movesets, attacks, even the EV system, possibly. I'm not totally sure.
No.
Shifts depending on the game.
Change.
They don't change? The IVs don't change, but the EVs could change. No. The EVs don't change?
The EVs don't change.
Okay.
Even the IVs, I think that was a glitch that they changed when you would switch them between the two.
Okay, all right, well, that's good.
For me, the thing that always bugged me was the move resets and like the constant
me too,
It was because there were moves you could get in like XD Gala Darkness, they pulled them all the way through the generations. They wanted to make sure they could have a hold on the actual competitive scene because it was getting out of hand, right?
People didn't want no guard feature Machamp.
Also that, right? And it's like they want people like fishing for these crazy obscure event Pokemon, and then bring them all the way through, and then you're getting sticky from there. And also, it's the barrier entry is just like so much more difficult. GameCube, XD, transferring them up through the games, like you'd have to spend like $700 just to get your Pokemon all the way back into the main game, right? So barrier entry was lifted for that. And again, I do think that like it would just be like you can play Champions and you can earn your points and you can use you can buy items